The Fisherman and His Wife. Once there was a poor fisherman who lived with his wife in a little old run-down hut by the sea. Every day the men went down to the seashore to fish. One day, as he sat looking into the clear blue water, the man felt a tug on his line. He pulled and pulled with all his might. At last, out flopped a great big fish.
"Let me go, I beg of you,"
said the fish.
"I am not an ordinary fish. I am enchanted prince. Toss me back in the water and let me live."
"Swim away,"
said the fisherman.
"I would not eat a fish that can talk."
The fisherman went back to his wife in the little old run-down hut. He told her about the talking fish. The wife said. The fisherman did not want to go, but his wife insisted. So he walked slowly back to the seashore. The water was no longer clear and blue. It was dull and green. The fisherman called.
"Hear me if you will, you magic fish. My wife has sent me with a wish."
The fish swam up and asked,
"What do you want?"
"My wife wishes to live in a nice new house."
said the fisherman.
"Go home,"
said the fish.
"She has her house."
The fisherman went home and found his wife standing in front of a lovely new house.
"Now you will be happy,"
said the fisherman. She was, for about a week. Then she said,
"I want to live in a much bigger house. Go ask the fish for a bigger house."
The fisherman walked to the seashore. The water has changed from dull green to dark gray. The fisherman called.
"Hear me if you will, you magic fish. My wife has sent me with a wish."
The fish swam up and asked,
"What do you want?"
The fisherman said,
"My wife wants an even bigger house."
"Go home,"
said the fish.
"You will find her in a bigger house."
When the fisherman got back, he could hardly believe his eyes. There stood a much bigger house.
"Now indeed you will be happy,"
said the fisherman to his wife. She was, until the next morning. When the sun rose the next day, the fisherman's wife poked him and said,
"Husband, get up. I am so bored with life in this tiny house. I can't stand it anymore. Go to the fish at once. Tell him that I wish to be a queen of all the land."
"But wife,"
cried the fisherman,
"how much more can we ask the fish to do for us?"
"Go and ask him."
said his wife. So the poor fisherman walked to the seashore. The water was brown. The waves moaned and splashed on the shore. The fisherman called.
"Hear me if you will, you magic fish. My wife has sent me with a wish."
The fish swam up and asked,
"What does she want this time?"
With his head hung low, the fisherman said,
"She wishes to be queen of all the land."
"Go home,"
said the fish.
"She's already queen."
The fisherman went home and found that his wife was the queen. She was sitting on a high throne studded with gold and gems. She wore a long silk dress and gold jewelry. Servants were scrubbing the floor and bringing her food. A doorman stood by the door.
Now,
said the fisherman.
you must be truly happy.
She was, until that evening. As the sun began to set, the wife said,
I order you to go to the fish. Tell him he must give me the power to make the sun rise and set when I wish.
The fisherman walked back to the seashore. The water was black. Thunder boomed and lightning flashed. Huge dark waves crashing around him. The fisherman shouted,
Hear me if you will, you magic fish. My wife has sent me with a wish.
The fish swam up and asked,
Now, what does she want?
The fisherman replied,
My wife wants the power to make the sun rise and set whenever she chooses.
The fish only said,
Go home.
The man went home. There he found his wife standing next to the little old rundown hut. There they live to this very day.